Hi, today I'd like to share another devotion in my Lies and Disguise series that I call The Beginning. And what I mean by the beginning is the beginning of our moral decline. Let me first start out by reading the introduction to chapter 13 in my book, Lies and Disguise. It says, when Romans 1:18 through 32 describes the depravity of mankind, sexual sins play a prominent role. We are rightly concerned with the personal and cultural damage that comes from approving LGBTQ plus lifestyles, but our moral decline did not begin there. In chapter 13 of my book, and in this devotion today, I want to talk a little bit about where it began. How did we get to the point in our culture that is described in Romans 1:30 as people becoming God haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful, and inventing new ways of doing evil? Well, the answer is found in the context of Romans 1 because it shows a gradual decline of people who start out by suppressing the truth. And when they suppress the truth in one area, it always leads to a deeper suppression of the truth in another area. For example, 50 years ago, sex outside of marriage was considered ungodly and unhealthy by Christians and non Christians alike. Now, I'm not saying there weren't exceptions to this, but in general, the culture believed that marriage was the place where sexual intimacy was designed and was good. But when people began suppressing the truth, they soon decided that LGBTQ lifestyles and abortions were healthy and not damaging. Always when we accept one sin, it leads to another. And if you think that mankind has reached the final limit, which sometimes I can't even imagine what is worse than what we're experiencing today, you're wrong. It will get worse if something isn't done to stop it. If God doesn't come and cause a revival, or Christians start speaking up. And we can't necessarily solve all the problems, but dear Christians, we're not speaking truth. We're acting as if love means approval when love means warning people of their sins. So whenever we suppress the truth, as is talked about in Romans 1, then we start to develop half-truth arguments, lies in disguise, which is one reason I've written my book, and I have a chapter in it on sexual lies and disguise because they do great damage to our culture. This is one important thing that we must remember, that if we keep silent and we don't address the sins as they are, they will only get worse. So I want to encourage you to really speak up in love. There's a way to speak both firmly and with grace. And when I say with grace, I don't mean that people are going to receive it that way, but sometimes we need to speak up even when people don't receive it. So I encourage you to think through these things and think of ways that you can speak truth into the situations that are happening in our world. And I also encourage you to buy my book because I think it will help you to do that. It will give you clear ways to express God's principles in culture. God bless.